Now, my guest for this Europe conversation is Albania's Prime Minister, Edi Rama. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. You are in Brussels holding talks about enlarging the European Union and joining the European Union. So the obvious question is, why does Albania want to become an EU member?
Because it is what we always wanted and that we finally can. So we came from a very long way and we were under different empires and finally of our own choice we want to join this empire.
And you consider it an empire, the European Union?
Of course.
In what way?
An empire, in all the ways. A nice one.
A nice one.
Yeah.
So, well, here's the thing. And the question why I asked you why now is you say it's a nice empire, but of course it has been a very difficult 3 years now for the European Union. Obviously, the war in Ukraine is having a lot of impact in the European conversation. We've also seen this moment of either radical change for the EU or slow agony. Mario Draghi said that. So has the EU lost some of the gloss around it, or you still believe there is still an opportunity?
Listen, there are different things you are asking about. So on one hand, it's about how we see it, and on the other hand is about how Europe should see itself in this new world. When it comes to how we see it as the only place we want to be, because it's the only place where certain things that we fought for are going to be guaranteed. And I'm talking about freedom, I'm talking about equality in front of the law, I'm talking about democracy in general. From my own angle, very humbly I would say that Europe, it's not that Europe has lost something, it's that Europe should gain something.
And when you look at the situation, however, in Europe, obviously the war is still going on. You say very humbly, I'm not going to tell the EU what they need to do because right now you're not a member of the EU, but you also said, I have my views of what Europe should be. What do you think the war in Ukraine is going to do to this continent?
Well, the war on Ukraine is beyond Ukraine in a way, is a very brutal signal of changing world, of gathering storms of geopolitics, and of different ball game in the international arena. And for that, Europe needs to come out with an approach that is not based on the old new normal, because it's not going to come back, but it's based on how to make sure that it will not become irrelevant. So the war in Ukraine is a big test for all of us in many ways. And first and foremost, I believe in how much Europe will be able to, at the end, be a driving force for peace and not a force of war.
You said it will depend on largely how this war ends, the reflection in Europe. If there's a bad deal in Ukraine, is that going to make Europe weaker? And is that a union that you want to be a part of, a weak union?
Listen, it all depends. It all depends in this case because, let's face it, you know, it doesn't look very comforting that the European Union or Europe as such, the democratic Europe, has not yet a peace plan for Ukraine. And this does not mean to compromise on the territorial integrity or to recognize the result of aggression in any shape or form, but it means to find a way to combine the resistance to the aggression with a realistic peace plan, and to make the utmost for offering both resilience, resistance, muscles in the arena, and vision of the future, of a common future, possibly, including Russia, when it comes to a path towards first peace and then cooperation. I know it looks like completely crazy to think in these terms today, but Europe has shown that enemies can become partners and partners can become friends. Of course, to go there, first and foremost, we all need to overcome the brutality of the aggression and to not reward the aggression, by no doubt.
And that's interesting because a lot of the language that we hear coming out of Brussels says that Russia is now a threat for Europeans, and there is no clear path in terms of normalizing relationships. Are you looking at Russia as a country that is, yes, a threat to Europeans, or is there perhaps a way that you have to engage just because Russia's not going anywhere?
Listen, one does not exclude the other, in my view. The Soviet Union was a threat to the world and to the United States, but Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, they found a way to build in the same time a very solid channel of communication and to start something completely new in the world scene. Same with the communist China at that time. Now, of course, I don't want to make comparisons that may not fit the purpose, but I simply want to say that while fighting, and rightly so, while supporting Ukraine, and rightly so, while thinking in terms of strength, and rightly so, Europe should also have its own plan of peace and should not give up diplomacy. Because outsourcing the European diplomacy and outsourcing the whatever type of peace that may come on the other side of the ocean, it doesn't seem to have been very rewarding so far.
So when you say outsourcing, you mean to Trump? If there's no communication?
No, but it's not to Trump. On the contrary, thanks to Trump, Europe rediscovered the word ceasefire, which seemed to be banned from the vocabulary with the previous administration. So I mean, doesn't matter whatever happens on the other side of the ocean or whomever is on the other side of the ocean, Europe should have its own peace plan, and of course then harmonize and then
but you don't see
integrate
that now.
And so on. Where is it?
So when you talk to your European counterparts and they say we want a just and fair peace, you don't think there's any depth to that?
No,
you don't see a plan.
I am not advocating any unjust or unfair peace. I'm simply saying that diplomacy should not be left behind, although there is a war. You know, don't forget, Israel and Hamas were fighting to the teeth, and they were communicating, they were negotiating, they were talking. So this is something normal, and it's not a war somewhere, it's a war in Europe.
And now going back to the reason why you're in Brussels, has any impact, the fact that there's this war going on, that now there's this real momentum on enlargement? Is this impacting you in a positive way where you say because of this war, now there's this impetus? If there had been no invasion of Ukraine, we would not be here. We would not be talking about this.
It's very probable. And it's sad. It's sad that...
that it took a war.
It's sad that it took a war to turn the very just and right words in real deeds, because it has always been said that the Western Balkans are strategically important for the European Union, that the future of the Western Balkans is the European Union, that one day we'll be together. But in the meantime, the process was quite disappointing in many ways. I must say that the aggression created a new energy, and this is also something very, inspiring. As it is inspiring how Europe got together, as it is inspiring to read in this in the wall of this big building a very clear, message of unity.
And now you've entered what is now seen as almost a final stretch in negotiations, and then it will become a political question too, because you have to win over the 27 heads of state. Who do you consider your biggest ally? Because to me, when I see it from the outside, Giorgia Meloni is your best friend in Europe, isn't she?
Listen, I don't want to go there because it would not be fair to the very true and very generous friendship we are being offered by many in this path.
But you have a special chemistry. You can see it. What do you like about her?
Yeah, you now are curious because she's a woman, you are a woman, but I must say that when it comes to Italy, there is something very special between Albania and Italy in general, and all the Italian prime ministers, independently from their political party or political colors of the government, they have been very good to us. And with Georgia is a special chemistry. I cannot hide it because it's very visible, right? And more than that, beyond that, she is someone that is very much about doing things and not just saying things, which is not very typically Italian, I must say, but she is like that.
And would Europe be better off if there were more leaders like Giorgia Meloni?
Listen, Georgia is one of a kind, and I'm not sure she can be replicated, but by no doubt, more women in leadership positions will help Europe to be stronger. And this is obvious when you see the president of the European Union Commission, when you see Georgia, when you see Mette Frederiksen. So these women are incredibly strong, and they make men look like they have to improve.
And of course, when it comes to Albania, in a European context, we often hear it in the sentence, the Albanian model. I'm sure you know what that refers to. Obviously, it's this deal that you cut with regards to migration with the Italians. They now have set up this migration center and their jurisdiction is applied, but this is your land. When you hear the Albanian model, a lot of people assume or think of it as a loss of sovereignty of a country, and that refers to yours. Is that unfair?
What do you mean sovereignty? We are...
you have police from another country, law from another country, migrants from another country.
You know, Italy is not another country. Italy is, you know, the Albania we look forward to have. So Italians are Albanians dressed by Versace. So we are the same people. We speak two different languages. We are united by the same sea. We love many things.
But when you hear the dark side of the Albanian model, what does that mean to you? Is that something that you go, it is unfair? And by the way, more countries would do this if they could.
First of all, not with Albania, because we can do it only with Italy, as I said, you know, because there are many reasons for that. And on the other hand, I don't care what people say, you know. It's good that people can say things.
You don't care about this perception of a country that traded a part of sovereignty.
This is why we love freedom. This is why we want democracy, because people can say whatever they want.
You don't regret it in any way. You would do it again.
No, what sovereignty? You know, Italians are at home in Albania, and we feel at home in Italy. So
The Italians don't apply your law.
but it's up to them to apply their law in that piece of land where they have to manage this operation, which is theirs. And they asked us to do it, and we said, of course, you are welcome, it's your home.
There's this idea that you are putting the police, the laws, and people from one country to another, and that you ceded part of your territory for that. In that specific area, it's almost a piece of Italy. Some would argue there's something wrong in that model, but at the same time, I wonder if you think there's a level of hypocrisy because more would do it if they could.
No, I can't accuse anyone of hypocrisy. I simply think that people have different views. And sometimes people are jealous, but it's human. In this case, I don't know. I simply know that for us, it has been a due, so we had to do it because Italy asked us. And when Italy asks, we always say yes. And, you know, it's not just Georgia, it's Italy.
And do you hope that yes, when they ask, we say yes, that they are going to return the favor at some point? Some argue it's a transactional relationship in a way.
No, there's no transactional relation between Italy and us because Italy has done for us a lot without any favor asked in return. And I'll never forget the day we were so down because an earthquake hit us very, very strongly, and the first to arrive in our help were the Italian firefighters, and they entered under the rubbles to save lives of people they didn't know in a country they put their feet for the first time, and they did it like heroes.
And Prime Minister, just a final question. You've said there's a lot of cliches and stereotypes about what Albania is.
I didn't say that.
You've never said there.
But I agree with you.
No, but you've never said, because I've saw this in a sentence where you said there's ideas. Yes, there's ideas that have been presented about Albania that I find are a cliche or stereotypes of what Albanian people are. At the same time, some of your critics would argue what this collective imagination alludes to is this idea of perhaps mafias, crime, gangs. Is that something that you take serious and you say, well, it's not a stereotype, it's something we have to fight? And how do you do this dual path in which you change the narrative but also tackle issues like this?
No, but the narrative has already changed, and it's changing every day, because now Albania is not anymore a mysterious shithole in the middle of Europe where
you think that's how people perceived you?
Everyone was imagining, you know, mafia and criminals and drugs and prostitutes and all the bad things. Now Albania is
some of your critics say that's still an issue.
Shining example where millions and millions of Europeans come to visit, and where they see that it's a piece of Europe that has to be part of the mosaic. While in the same time, do we have still issues with organized crime? Yes, we do. Who don't? Look at this city. This city is, you know, an example. And still there are great things happening here. Do we have issues with drugs? Who don't? Then, of course, we need to fight, and the fight will never end, as the example of Europe shows. Europe has fought drugs all the way, but drugs are still in Europe, and the fight goes on.
And the Commission also made that point, so you agree on that specifically too, in the recommendations. So, Prime Minister...
I agree with all the recommendations. I've never seen anything more objective, more brutally...
So it was a good report.
More brutally truthful and more amazingly inspiring than the European Commission report. We live for this book.
What will tell the Commissioner? She'll be happy to see someone read it, start to end.
They know, and we have some people that read it from the beginning to the end. I don't know how they survive that, but they do, and I just adore them, and I live for this book. Looking this book getting better and better is the legacy of my political life.
Well, on that note, Prime Minister, thank you very much for joining us on Euronews.
Thank you.